Okay, it's October 3rd. This is our second tape, and Julie is viewing left and Dolphin is viewing right. And we're at Julie's house. This is Julie Hirsch and Nicolette, aka Dolphin Hirsch. And I'm Sarah Armstrong Jones, and we're taping. We were just talking about patterns. Was mostly when you were typing on a keyboard, was your pattern to sit or stand or both?
I stood a lot.
And was there another person with you, or were you by yourself most of the time?
Other person.
And if you were going to type, did they take you over to type, or did you take them over to type?
They took me.
Was there ever a time that you took somebody to tell them something?
After.
And so, how long did it take before you were able to start making someone, where you were initiating it?
When I couldn't make them do what I wanted them to do, just by wanting to.
So, if you wanted to do a new activity, or if you wanted a snack or something, would those be kinds of things, if they weren't responding to your signals, that you might take someone over to type? Or use the bathroom? Or what kind of things could make you want to go over and type to tell them if they didn't understand?
I got them to do, if I wanted to eat. We had that down. This, like how, as the saying goes, we got that covered. That's another saying.
Yes.
By them. Like, I would go to the refrigerator and cry. Or if I wanted to change from my wet clothes, I cried.
You what?
Cried.
Yeah. Were you, at 12, were you able to use the bathroom yourself?
Sometimes I forgot.
Yeah.
Or I go, but I forgot to pull down my pants.
So many things to organize.
Yeah, or lift the lid, or things like that. But we were all working. We did this all the time. So after a while, I would check or remember how to do it.
So, what were some things that you maybe wanted to...
Like wiping was still an issue. I could maybe remember to wipe, but not wipe well.
Is that because you're having to do more than a series of steps to use the bathroom? Like, check the lid, do this, do that.
Just forgetful. Or
a long list of things to remember?
Yeah. If you miss one sequence, the whole pattern derails. You have to remember, go to the bathroom, pull down your underwear, lift the lid, sit down, pee or poop. Then you have to remember to wipe. And then you have to remember to pull your pants back up.
And then flush.
I wasn't allowed to flush.
Why not?
Because once I flushed, I wouldn't stop.
Why could you stop? It just became like a stimm or finishing a ritual, or both?
It stopped. It became something by itself. It's flushing was something fun, like playing with water in the sink. It was not in the same category.
If it was fun, if you could have kept flushing just for pretend, would you?
I could do that all day.
That's interesting because sometimes if something is fun, you could do it, but you could also stop doing it. I wonder why was it something you had a hard time to stop doing? Maybe that's not the right question, but it's the only one I know how to ask right now.
Because sometimes it's not because I would stop, because I could possibly stop on my own, perhaps if I've got something else that would interest me.
So,
But it bothered everybody.
So what would be something in that time that you had people who were, they were initiating, maybe they take your hand or say, come on Julie, let's go over here now, time to type, or something like that, and then they ask you some questions or do something with you with typing.
They had to retest everything because I could spell.
So suddenly they could find out how smart you were.
Yes, I didn't know it either.
And then, do you have any memories about when you began to start to do the typing, where you would be wanting to tell somebody something?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how that started?
To change the speech, I took the test. I took the test and I could answer questions. The test asked the question and I answered it. I answered it correctly too many times.
And to maybe different questions that meant almost the same thing, and so if you kept having a similar correct answer, then it wasn't just luck. Were you spelling the answers or doing multiple choice?
I spelled a lot too.
Yeah. So you're doing these
simple, simple questions, like, is my name Sarah? No. Is your name Becky? No. Is your name Michael? No. Is your name Julie? Yes.
And are you typing YES to answer yes?
I did both, I think. There were two of them like that. Like, I typed it, yes, I could type yes too, but they also had it written down too already.
Where you just tap?
Like a multiple choice, yeah, is what they had it, but just a yes and no multiple choice.
Yeah.
And questions.
And when they would do those kind of questions, did someone stand behind you or next to you?
Next.
On your right side or your left side?
Here.
So right side or behind?
Behind, right.
Yeah. And then, oh, I hear,
Yeah.
I might have heard me.
Yeah, he's got coffee. He'll come around here too.
Okay. Then somebody, did anybody hold your hand when you were doing multiple choice or typing for these tests?
No. That's why I continue to do the tests. Because Michael and Robbie needed someone to hold their hand.
So Michael and Robbie were two other children who were there also,
Yes.
but since they needed somebody to hold their hand, they stopped.
Yes.
And how did you feel when you saw that going on?
I like the tests.
And how did you feel about,
I like the questions, and I wanted to keep on going.
how did you feel about other children not going on because they had to have someone touch them?
I didn't understand it.
What didn't you understand? That why they stopped?
Yeah, they moved me from the class.
Did you feel like you had to type independently? Was there a feeling that it was easy to do, or that
It was hard, but I did it.
And did you feel like if you quit typing, if you had to have someone touch you, they would stop? Is there that idea? Yes or no?
The only reason we went on was because I could do it by myself.
And what kept you going by yourself? You could do it by yourself. And was that just because you were lucky you had a different kind of autism than the other kids who had to be touched? I'm sure they wished they could keep typing.
Yeah.
So, is it just when you think back to that time, you just are lucky you could do it? Or was there, did you do things to make yourself keep doing it, or what happened? You're just lucky?
No, I didn't like the changes. I liked my classroom. I already had my routine.
But it was also important to maybe have people paying attention to you a different way and doing
More
things.
anxiety. No.
No? So hard.
Anxiety.
So how did you keep going if it was more anxiety, changing routines, all this? Why not just quit and just be like Michael and the other boy and not have so many changes? Why would you keep going?
It made Mr. White happy.
Oh. Was Mr. White in some ways like everybody has in their lifetime, like a favorite teacher or a teacher that they really care about?
Yeah. If I did it, it was so he won't get into trouble, because I don't know, like I think he wanted something, and for the other teachers, he thought something and they thought something different. And to prove something, I had to help him, I think. So I did it only for him first. And I did it because I could. It was interesting to do it. I didn't like the changes afterwards at first, no.
And now, I guess what I'm trying to get
life was complicated after I wasn't retarded anymore.
But what I guess
Things were a lot simpler when I was started.
more familiar.
No, things were simpler when I was still retarded.
A lot simpler. But here's my question. I'm wondering about the other two boys they tried this with were named Michael and Robert. Robbie and Michael. But Robbie and Michael, I know like sometimes, like Dove, for example, might want to do something, but he can't do it even if he wants to, like he wants to talk. But just because he wants to talk doesn't mean he can talk.
Yeah.
So
I wanted speech, I didn't want the writing.
but just because Michael and Robbie maybe wanted to like how Michael did tapping too on the letters on the wall,
Yes.
it seems like maybe he wanted also to be able to communicate,
Yes.
but he couldn't, at least to begin, he couldn't type without someone putting their hand on his hand. So then they quit helping him and they gave up and they didn't try anymore, yes?
Yes.
So I'm sure, I'm guessing this, but maybe Michael really also wanted to do the typing, but he couldn't do it without help.
Yes.
And so, why could you do it without help? Any ideas? Why could you, I mean, you could do it without help. That's why you got to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But how come you could do it without help? Do you have any idea why? I'm sure Michael wanted to do it without help so he could keep going, but he couldn't. So he is all done for him.
Yeah.
How,
I don't know why. It was more important to do the patterns. And I made my hand move.
when you say you made your hand move, like I remember with trying to talk that at first you used a word, you said when it came out of your mouth it was like a train wreck.
Yes.
So when you wanted to touch with your hand, was it sometimes like a train wreck? Like it wouldn't do what you wanted to do?
Yeah. It wouldn't move.
Were you scared if your hand couldn't move and type that they would give up and quit with you? Like, or Mr. White would be angry or sad?
I made my hands go where I wanted them to go. I just had to remember I had them.
What are things that would help you remember you had your hands?
Flapping.
So would maybe part of your routine with typing be to flap your hands and then type so you could feel your hands and then type?
Yes.
So if they had said, I'm just making this up, but if somebody said to you, no flapping, no stimming, just type, would you be able to keep typing?
No.
So if there was no stimming, there could be no typing? No flapping, no typing at
How
first?
would I know where my hands were?